G'day legends, I hope you're all awesome. Today on Great or Garbage, we're going to check out the Dimarzio Very Metal, a pedal that I only heard about through one of my viewers, Josh, who sent me this particular pedal from their personal collection to try out in this video. So Josh, you're an absolute legend, mate. Everybody else send him some love in the comment section below. I did a little bit of reading about this pedal, and honestly, I expected it to be some kind of, Tube Screamer derivative to kick a Marshall into high gain overdrive. And looking at like the graphics and the fact that the knobs go to 11 on here, you wouldn't excuse me for assuming that, but it's actually meant to be kind of like a Rat pedal derivative. And I don't have a whole lot of experience with Rat pedals, but I am going to try it with some of my Superstrats into a crunchy Marshall style amp and have some fun with it. Kind of curious to see what I get out of this pedal, because I didn't even know Dimarzio made pedals until Josh mentioned it and said, hey, I have this particular pedal, let me send it out to you and let me know what you think. So let's get straight into it. I'm very excited. Let's get started. I've got my Hamer Californian Elite, which has a Duncan distortion in the bridge going straight into the Dimarzio Very Metal. That is going into my Synergy 800 module. I've got the gain at the moment at about 9 o'clock. Syn 5050 power amp, Fractal X load with my go-to greenback IR. If you want the IR, check the video description. You can grab it for free. Let's just have a listen to the tone that I'm going to start with, and then I'll kick in the Very Metal pedal with the tone and distortion all the way down and the volume all the way up. I'll let you hear the bridge pickup and the neck pickup. The neck pickup in this actually is a Dimarzio, so Seymour Duncan and Dimarzio together at last. That is so not what I expected based on the graphics and the name and the era this came out. I was expecting to probably blast through a bunch of my favorite 80s riffs on this and use it in front of a crunchy amp and just kind of kick the amp into a little bit more overdrive the way I'd use, I don't know, a Tube Screamer or a Boss SD1. But that probably just goes to show how inexperienced I am using Rat style circuits. And I know the Rat is often touted as an alternative to a fuzz pedal for people who like to play doom metal and stuff like that. So you can definitely hear that kind of thing in there, especially with, just everything on 11 into this kind of crunchy amp. It just sends it into searing overdrive that's super, super thick and sludgy. Pretty wild. That does make me think though, maybe this would be better used as like a solo boost. So you have your kind of main hairy crunch tone and then you just kick this on when you want a whole bunch of sustain. All right, I'm leaning into this vibe now that this is essentially a fuzz alternative. So I've switched over to the Synergy Überschall module. I've got my PRS in drop C. I love the way this module sounds for a tight, high gain, you know, kind of modern, kind of hair metal inspired tone. That's pretty insane, the Uber module together with that, and balancing out the distortion and the tone to go from something that's just like absolutely smeared and oversaturated into something that you could probably use as a pretty cool drop tune doom tone on there. Which brings me to a Strat, the deluxe reverb. I'm still running it into the X load, but I've loaded up an EV IR. I've got my Lexicon PCM 70 on the circular delays patch added as an aux send. Let's try this as a fuzz, maybe for like an EJ style inspired thing, or maybe a kind of smooth Gilmore style tone. Let's hear it bypass. I'll start with tone control all the way down and I'll bring the distortion in. all up, I was very, very surprised by this particular pedal. It didn't do what I expected it to do based on the way I guess it's marketed, you know, very metal. You're expecting it to do a very particular thing based on when it came out. So maybe you could argue that it's kind of garbage at being very metal, unless, of course, you're talking about it being very doom metal, in which case I think it is great. My favorite tones on there were those boosted Überschall tones, where you went from a super tight, you know, modern metal style tone into this absolute fuzz beast, and it was really nice to play around with the distortion and the tone control to kind of get different textures in there. It felt really good under the fingers, and with the clean Strat, I thought it was pretty great as well as a fuzz alternative. So maybe I just need more rat pedal in my life. The pedal is a little bit noisy, and you know, there's some weird stuff where you would assume on any kind of pedal that you sort of plug in over here and go out over here. It's the opposite, and you do need one of those weird pin jacks on here if you want to use it with a power supply. The knob's going to 11. It's like on the Soldano amps, you know, it's one of those things that you kind of laugh at first and then you forget about. But every time you tell somebody about it, you're like, oh, by the way, it goes to 11 because Spinal Tap. So I guess it's kind of great for that. Overall, very unexpected pedal for me, but I kind of like it. And I think I do need some more rat pedal in my life. So big shout out again to Josh for sending this one over. Send them some love in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts on this. Did you think it was great or garbage? And I'll leave you all with a little jam with that clean tone on the Strat, although it's not going to be a clean tone because I'm going to use this like a fuzz. This track is available on my Patreon. Very much gives me a kind of Pink Floyd vibe with the Strat on here. So let's hear it over a bit of a Floyd knockoff. Enjoy, and I'll see you next time.